Well, hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Robin and this is Knotting Hook Crochet, and I'm back in the mood for making flowers. So this is my version of a sunflower. The back of it. This is my other one, which I hadn't quite perfected how to attach the stick on this one, but I got it on this one. So both of the centers are with using the same yarn, but I used a variegated, so it gave it some color instead of just being a solid brown. So I need one more, at least one more, to get my my little vase set up. So let's see how we do this. So what you will need is your yarn. Most people use brown, but I'm using this variegated from Hobby Lobby. I love this yarn, High Sierra stripe. It's got blues and tans and browns, and it looks like a little burgundy in there. It'll be a surprise what colors we hit this time. And then Red Heart Super Saver. This is left over from the pattern testing video. And this one is saffron, I think. Yes. And then also left over is this green. And I'm not sure what color the green was. Tea leaf, I think. It was a Red Heart. You will also need some wire. That one's kind of thin, but I use it in the leaves. I double it up. This is a thicker wire that I'm going to use to help attach the flower to the bamboo stick. I will be using a 4mm crochet hook. I'm going to need my yarn needle, a stitch marker, and a pair of scissors. So let's get started. Now, if you like doing the magic circle, that is perfectly fine. You can start with a magic circle. I, however, am going to chain 2. So 1, 2. And in the very first chain, the second one from the hook, I'm going to place 6 single crochets. And I'm going to mark my first one. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We're going to work in a spiral. So we're going to connect to our first single crochet and make a single crochet and then one more in that single crochet. So this is our first increase round. Going to mark our first stitch. So in each one of the previous rounds, 6 stitches, we're going to put 2 stitches in each stitch. So you should end up with 12 stitches when you get back around to your stitch marker. Okay, so we made it around. And now the next row, we're still working in a spiral. We're going to do 1 single crochet in the first stitch, mark it, and 2 single crochets in the next stitch. One in the next, increase in the next stitch. One in the next, increase in the next stitch. So your last stitch should be an increased stitch, and that should leave you with 18 stitches. Okay, so the next round, Make our first stitch, mark it. Now we're going to do single crochet, and increase. Single, single, increase. Good, we got some brown. Single, single, increase. Single, single, and our last stitch is an increase. So we know we did it right. Okay, so you should have 24 stitches now. We're going to go to our next round, still working in a spiral. Put our first single, mark it. So now it's going to be 3 singles. So that was 1, 2, and 3, and then an increase. 1, 2. Ooh, we got to the burgundy. This one's going to have the prettiest center yet. Okay, so 3 singles. 1, 2, 3, and an increase. One, 2, 3, and an increase. 3, and our last stitch is an increase, so we did it right. Now we have 30 stitches. Ooh, that's going to be a pretty center. So we go to our next round, start off with a single, mark it, so we do 4 this time. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and an increase. 1, 2, 4 singles. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and an increase. 4 singles. That's 1, 4, and an increase. So our last stitch is an increase, so we did it right. Whoops. But on our last stitch, we are going to do a color change. So before you complete that stitch, bring your green, pull it through. I'm going to move my stitch marker, but I'm going to keep it on the front loop of that first stitch. So for this round, we want to do regular single crochets in the back loop only. And I'm going to work over top of my ends. Just go all the way around, back loop only. So I think there was a couple of supplies that I forgot to mention. You'll need glue, whether it's a hot glue gun or just a fast drying tacky glue, and a tiny little bit of some polyfill. Okay, so we've made it all the way around. Now we're going to go into, or back to using both loops when we do our stitch, but we're going to start doing decreases. So we want to go into our first stitch. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then decrease. Now when I do decreases, I do the front loop, pull through, front loop, pull through, yarn over and go through all 3. So then 4 regular, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and a decrease through the front loop, and then through all 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and a decrease. Okay, so we're not trying to make a ball. We want this to close down pretty rapid. So it's not going to be a gradual decrease like it was a gradual increase. So now I'm going to switch over to 2 singles and then a decrease. Two singles and a decrease. Two singles. Okay, so now we're going to do single, decrease. Single and a decrease. All right, so let's see how many stitches we have left now. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I want to keep decreasing till I get down to 12. So I'm going to do a single. And a decrease, so that should be 14. Single. And a decrease, that's 13. Let's double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, one more decrease. So single and a decrease. Okay, so we're starting to get pretty small right there. Let's get some stuffing. No, I don't need this much. It's just what came out of the bag. Okay, let's put some stuffing in here. Tell you what, this Hobby Lobby polyfill, it has such a nicer, more pleasant feel to it than the stuff that you get at Walmart. Okay, a little bit more. Okay. All right, so now we're going to do a half double crochet in the next 3 stitches. Then we're going to decrease in the next. Single crochet in the next, decrease in the next, single crochet in the next, whoops, decrease in the next, and we're around to our 3 half double crochets. That's 1, 2, 3, and a single, and a single, and a single, and then 3 half doubles. And I'm going to slip stitch right there. Leave myself a nice long tail so it can get in my way. And that's so that we can wrap our stick when we're ready for the stick. Okay, so what this little part does is we're going to take, but not yet, we're going to take this wire and make a loop and stick it in there and fold it down and then attach to the bamboo stick. But first, before we do that, because we'll get in our way and it'll flop around and get our yarn tangled, we're going to make our petals. Okay. So get out your yellow. You're going to fasten on and chain 3. In the next stitch, we're working in our front loops, we're going to do, 3 triple crochets together. So a 3 triple cluster. You leave 2 loops on your hook. So that's 2. 3, yarn over, pull through all 3. Now you want to chain 3 for a picot. This is one of the many reasons I don't care for Red Heart Super Saver. And it doesn't help that I'm using a small hook. Okay, so you do your picot. So after your picot, chain 4. And we're chaining 4 so it doesn't pull on this little point, I hope. Slip stitch into the next front loop. Slip stitch over to the one next to that. Chain 3. That's better. And then your 3 triple cluster in the next stitch. So that's 1, 2, and pull through all of them. Chain 3, do your picot, chain 4, slip stitch over to the next front loop, and then to the one next to that you do a slip stitch and chain 3. And in the next one is your triple crochet cluster. So you're going to repeat that all the way around. So if you had 36 stitches before you started with the green and the decreasing, then you should have 13 flower petals. Chain 4. Slip stitch into the next front loop. Slip stitch over to this next one. Chain 3. Okay, so you work your way around. You should end up with 13 flower petals, and I will meet you back when I get finished with mine. Okay, once you make it all the way around, you want to work in your ends, and then you can straighten out your petals. I mean, look how pretty that is with that center. It's just gorgeous. All right, so the next step is you're going to get your strong wire and make a little loop. So you make a loop, and you're going to put that down inside your little tube there and fold it so that it stays in. There we go. So here is where you're going to want some glue. You could use hot glue or you could use regular glue. But before I bring on my glue, I want to work in so that I can pull this snug. I'm not going to pull it snug yet, so I'm going to work in, weave it in and out through the stitches. That way when I put my stick in here, I can pull the string and it'll close that around it. Okay. So let me grab my glue. Okay, so for the sake of time, I'm going to use my hot glue gun. I'm going to put this right in here and quickly pull to close that around it. All right, so we don't need this wire this long. Okay, so see how that's on the stick? Now we want to wrap this around. Oops. So yeah, once you get it away from the flower petals, you can, spin the stick instead of trying to wrap it. Makes it a whole lot easier. Just get a nice tight wrap on there. Okay, so the only thing left to do is to make a leaf if you want to put a leaf on your stem. So I did mine pretty basic. So I chained 15. In the second chain from the hook, you're going to do a single crochet. The next chain, a half double crochet. The next 3 chains, a double crochet in each one. So that's 1, 2, 3. The next 4 chains, each one gets a triple crochet. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we want to do 3 double crochets in the next one, in the next, each of the next 3 chains. So that's 1, 2, 3, a half double, and your last stitch is a single crochet. So then you're going to chain 1, come over to the other side, do 1 single crochet, a half double crochet, 3 doubles. You're doing the exact same thing that you did on the other side. Four triples. Three doubles. A half double. and a single. Okay. So kind of got a little football shape going on. Just a basic leaf. So now we want to bring out our other wire, or if you have plenty of that thicker wire, you can use that too. I'm just using this because I don't have a lot of those. And I'm going to double up my wire. Okay, and we want to work back around into each stitch with a single crochet. You're going to go up one side and back down the other. Make sure you're working over top of your wire. The wire is going to be what lets you give your leaf some shape. Now we're coming back down the other side. Personally, I like the other wire I have better than this because it's green, and if anything was to show through, it would be green, so it wouldn't be that noticeable. This being silver and shiny, of course, you know, you take that chance of it showing through. And, you know, I don't know that anybody's going to get close enough to critique it like that, but sometimes you yourself only have to be the one who knows, and it'll bother you if you're anything like me. Okay. All right, so now make sure I'm got it pretty much the way I want it there. And then we're going to wrap these, twist them around each other. And we're going to wrap your wire. You could use floral tape for this as well. It would probably be a little easier, but this just happens to be what I have. So that is what I'm using. Okay, so once you get it like a couple of inches on that stem, bring your flower back. Decide where you want to place your leaf. You're going to wrap the two together. So I didn't leave enough yarn, so I'll have to add some more. So you can wrap it all the way to the tip, but I'm stopping here because I'm going to break that part off so that all my stems are just a little bit different length. So because you have the wire in your leaf, you can, oh my goodness, you can shape your leaf however you would like to shape it. See, technically, I put that on backwards. There we go. So there's one other thing that you can do. So I don't know if it shows through on the camera, but when you look at this, you can see all the little fuzzy. You can use a lighter or a candle. I have a candle here. Let me just back this up just a little so that I can see what I'm doing. And you just like, don't leave it in the flame, you know, just quickly pass around the edges and it will melt off that fuzzy. I feel like I have better control with the lighter. If you leave it in one spot too long though, it will burn your yarn. I mean, acrylic is a plastic, that's why it does this. Okay. So now if you look at it, hopefully it shows up on camera and you can see the difference. It doesn't have that fuzzy halo all around it, and it kind of like tightened up those stitches a little bit. So fix my leaf. And okay, so I have my vase, which I happen to decorate. It was just clear glass and I decorated with some decoupage. Now on the inside, I put pieces of scrap yarn because I don't have any foam. So we use what we have. All right, so I'm going to put my tallest one in first. And then, so that is kind of what it looks like. I'll get a better view of it here in just a second. So what I did is I topped it off with brown yarn from all my little scraps. Always knew these would come in handy for something one day. And they did today. So, very nice. What do you think? Oops. Fix my little petals. I love the fact that all three of them, these centers, are all just a little bit different. Get some better light on it. It's all the same yarn, but they're all just a little bit different. So once you've made your sunflowers and you're ready to make some lavender, I have a great video right here for that. And we'll see you over there.